We know I like them. Put them back. Don't take them off.
Well, stop wiggling.
Okay.
Okay, today is Rest and Restore Yoga Nidra. It's a long guided meditation. Kaylee is just needing some assistance with her position in space because she keeps wiggling.
I don't wiggle, you wiggle.
So Kaylee's having issues with a little tension in her body right now, so we're just adding a little weight with rice pillows onto her shoulders. She has a little that should not be on her eyes.
No, I like that.
So when you use an eye pillow with the rice in it, just try to make sure that it's not resting on the eyelids, but the weight is resting on the skin around the eyes.
Thank you.
So, take the time to get yourself set up for this meditation. Really taking the time to land in the room and make a decision about how your body is most comfortable, because we're going to be here for a long time. So you want to be in a position that you can lay in and be still in as much as possible. That's not to say that if you're experiencing any nerve pain or anything that really needs adjustment, that you should not do that. It's just that you want to give yourself the promise of trying to be as physically still as possible. So start by getting comfortable. Start by making sure you're checking in and looking at your whole physical position and seeing how comfortable you can get. So you may need props. You may need, especially if you have tight lower back or tight glutes, tight back of your legs, putting something in underneath your knees can help release some of that tension in these areas. So if you're laying on your back and you put something in underneath your knees, it may help release the tension. If you like to have your feet together and your knees out, I do recommend propping up. So go to your fullest extension. Go to where you can feel a little muscle tension in your inner thigh, even if you're not aware that you feel it. Go to where your knees rest easily and pull your knees up just a little bit and place something in underneath so that you're not at maximum extension, so that your muscles can find the way to properly release tension, to really fully release tension. The whole point of these practices is for the body to get at rest, at this perfect resting state, releasing tension. We don't want to increase tension in any way. So trying to find a position and taking your time to adjust, to wriggle, to really get into the position you feel comfortable in, finding your props. It's helpful to have a blanket even if you feel warm right now, because as we start to go deeper and deeper into rest, your body temperature can cool. You can start to feel a little more cold. So socks, blankets, something warm and comforting. And start to really land in the room. So before closing your eyes, take a moment to really take in the room. Notice the sounds in the room. Notice the sounds in your own room. Notice perhaps some sounds you might hear from our room. We have the guys downstairs doing the rock climbing gyms. You might hear some mechanical noises. One of the things we do is not judging whether those noises should or should not be there. We're just trying to tell our fight or flight system what is in our environment so that we can turn it off. So just trying to actively be attentive to any sounds. Notice visually where you are. Start to take in your environment. And as you start to settle in, it can be helpful to say to yourself right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. Maybe even talking your body through it. I can soften. I can take a break. I can let go. It's time for rest. So as we start to go through the practice, it can feel like you're drifting off to sleep. That might be just getting into a deeper state of rest. Just try to give yourself the promise of paying attention to my voice, Paying attention to the gaps that I intentionally leave in the guidance. Where your mind goes, what happens, just having an experience. Noticing. But if you do fall asleep, just have some faith that that's what your body needs right now. You can give yourself permission to do that too. Try not to beat yourself up if you feel like you're not doing it the right way. Start to notice how your breath is in your body. Maybe you're breathing fast, maybe you're already breathing slow. Maybe when you start to think about your breath, you intentionally bring lots of tension in around the muscles of the breath. Notice all these things. And if you have a breath practice that you enjoy, maybe breathing in and sighing out of the mouth helps you release and settle into the ground. Just take a couple of long breaths, noticing how breath feels in the body, noticing what happens. Can you feel the breath as it comes in the left nostril and the right nostril? Can you start to connect with the place where that breath meets? Can you feel it come down your throat? Can you feel your chest and stomach rise? Just feeling your breath, starting to notice the responsive breath in the body, connecting to it being our life force, bringing in fresh, and releasing out what's no longer needed. Our breath can be this transformative process. It is a transformative process. It draws in one thing and it transforms it and it sends it out. We can connect to that sense in our body and use our imaginations to think about bringing in fresh all throughout the physical body and then sweeping away whatever is no longer needed with the exhale. Bring to mind perhaps a statement, an intention, a mantra, something that you're working with. Maybe you're working with self-worth and you make a little positive sentence. So if I were working with self-worth, my sentence would be, I am worthy. If I were working with health, it would be, I am healthy and strong. And you have the chance to just kind of whisper that to yourself as if you're really listening to that message. Say it to yourself softly. Say it to yourself with compassion, the way that you would to someone you really care about. And then we'll move on to a rotation of consciousness, practicing bringing our awareness to certain parts of the physical body and seeing how much sensation we can locate in that part of the body, and then moving on, moving our awareness around the physical body. So we begin with the right hand. Locate the right hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, palm of the right hand, back of the right hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit. Travel down the right rib cage a rib at a time. Locate the space between the rib cage and the hip. right hip, thigh, kneecap, lower leg, ankle, heel, arch, ball of the right foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Become entirely aware of the right side of the body. Filling up your awareness on the right side of the body. As if gently landing in and locating every cell on the right side of the body. And then gently shift your awareness over to the left hand. Locate the left hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, palm of the left hand, back of the left hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit. Travel down the left rib cage, a rib at a time. Locate this space between the rib cage and the hip. Left hip, thigh, kneecap, lower leg, ankle, heel, arch of the left foot, ball of the left foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Fill up your awareness on the left side of the body. Arriving home, softening in to the left side of the body. Look at the left foot, right foot, both feet, left knee, right knee, both knees, left hip, right hip, across the hips, left rib cage, right rib cage, across the torso, left hand, right hand, both hands, left arm, right arm, both arms, left side of the face, right side of the face, the whole face, left eye, right eye, both eyes, left ear, right ear, and then land your awareness right in between, this space in between the ears. Bring all of your awareness here and notice what is present. Notice that you can notice your thoughts. And perhaps notice a little space in between the thoughts. Move on to the practice of experiencing opposites in the physical body. Gently invite in the experience of heaviness. Perhaps imagining your whole body is filled with lead. Your bones are heavy. Your skin is heavy. Your fingers are heavy, your toes are heavy. Your legs, your arms, your torso, even your head is heavy. Fill up your whole body with a sense of heaviness. Becoming heavier and heavier. Feeling the weight of gravity drawing you down. Feeling so deeply grounded and heavy that if a storm were to blow in, you wouldn't budge. And then gently invite in the opposite sensation, the sensation of lightness. Filling up your whole body with the sensation of lightness. Imagining your whole body is filled with air. Your toes are light. Your fingers are light. Your arms and legs are light. Torso is light. Your head light. Feeling lighter and lighter and softer and softer. Perhaps even beginning to feel the sensation of softening and floating away on the softest breeze. And then gently invite in the possibility of experiencing both of these sensations at the same time. Sensation of lightness and the sensation of heaviness at the same time. Fill up your entire body with these opposing sensations, lightness and heaviness. And then gently bring your awareness to the outside corners of your eyes, softening into this space. And then gently falling backwards towards the center of the mind. Notice what is present. Notice that thoughts are present. And if the thoughts are present and you can notice them, notice that you are the one experiencing the thoughts, something a little more than just your thoughts. So intentionally and imaginatively connecting with the energetic layer of the body. We're going to think about the energetic highway of our spine. Whatever helps you connect to this space visually. Perhaps you see the spine anatomically and you peel away the layers and look beneath to that space where all the energy flows, taking messages from the brain down the spine to the rest of the body, and then all the messages from the nerve endings back up through the body, up through the spine, and back to the brain. This constantly moving highway of energy and messages. Maybe you see a color moving up and down. Maybe it's multiple colors. Find a way that helps you connect with the concept of this highway of energy moving through your body. Begin to connect with a loop starting at the very center of the brain, traveling down the spine, and then sending back up right to the center of the brain. And then begin to imagine that just above you is a cloud of energy that contains precisely what you need in this moment. And try not to cognitively label it. Just think about a ball of energy that's a ball of recharging energy. And it's just above you. And slowly from the crown of the head, a little softness opens and your own energetic force slowly trickles out and connects with this cloud of energy. And as it does, your little cord of energy starts to strengthen and glow and be more vibrant, more fresh, more filled with fresh energy and new life. And from here, it's going to trickle down your spinal highway, down your spine, and then all the way back up. And as it comes back up, it's sweeping away energy that is no longer needed. Connecting to this refreshing cycle of drawing in fresh and sweeping away what is no longer needed. Trying to use our imagination and not our cognitive mind to connect with this concept. Notice if the brain wants to label, wants to tell you what you want or what you need. And just try to stick to an image, an imagination, or perhaps a sensation, something that you feel. Drawing in fresh and sweeping away what is no longer needed. And then begin to see this connection, this recharging as if you're plugged into an outlet. Trickle out from the spine as if it's slowly trying to reach and touch every cell of your body. Recharge, refresh. Trickling out, bringing in fresh, and sweeping away what's no longer needed. slowly trickling down towards the fingertips, down towards the tips of the toes, to the outermost layers of the skin, to each and every cell, each and every muscle and tendon, in between the bones, all the joints. Fresh, recharging energy drawing in, trickling throughout, and then sweeping away what's no longer needed. And then gently see yourself unplugging from your cloud of energy, noticing a sense of being recharged in your own energetic system. And then gently draw your focus right to the center point of the brain, as if you're landing right on the top of the spinal cord, the middle of the brain, right at this meeting place. Right below the cognitive mind. So as if your body is one part and your brain and your thinking mind is another. There's a part in the middle, this meeting point, where the messages from the body begin to be sent out through the brain, the cognitive mind, to start to be processed. But there's also this point in the mind where some of the automatic things happen that we don't need to process. And we can land right here on top of this space, in between, as if dropping ourselves below the layer of the thoughts and the processing of the functioning mind, the thinking mind. Beginning to connect with the fact that the mind thinks, the mind does think, thoughts fire. And sometimes they're random and sometimes they follow a pattern. Starting to recognize that that is the function of the thinking mind. And it is not that we need to control it or beat it up or restrict it. It is only when we are disturbed and caught up in and assuming that that is all there is, that it's problematic. So gently draw yourself towards the center, right in the middle of the brain, as if pulling yourself away from the thoughts. Noticing that they're still there. And then we're going to draw our focus to our imagination. And we're going to take an imaginative journey, and the more clear that you visualize, the more details that you put in, the little easier the practice is. And whenever the thinking mind draws you away, just gently begin again. We take little steps as we walk through the journey, so just gently bring yourself back. Take the little steps, follow the path, and return to the practice without frustration, without judgment. The practice is not to get this perfect. The practice is to notice when the thinking mind has pulled us away. So we're going to think about the layers that we have on ourselves. And we're going to imagine that we're this miniature version of ourselves. And we're going to see ourselves. And if you notice any judgments as you're starting to visualize yourself, notice that as a layer of clothing. We're going to bundle ourselves up. So if you label yourself as you start to look at yourself as too much of something, too little of something, you start to put these labels as you look at yourself as if you're looking in the mirror. Imagine that's a layer of clothing. We're going to place a layer of clothing on until we're so bundled up. Maybe we have 100 jackets on and we're a little bundle ball carrying a lot of clothing on us. When you bring to mind the sentence, I am, what does the mind often complete this sentence with? Begin with the layer of your job. I am a student, an accountant. I am. Start to notice the things that we associate our definition of ourself with. So begin with your job, or your student, or the work that you feel that you do. And then find your layers of family placement. I'm a mother, a father, an uncle, a brother, all these labels. Imagine those as layers of clothing. And place them on your little miniature version of yourself. Notice some of the experiences that you've had that you often finish that sentence with. Perhaps there's a sport you finish that sentence with. Maybe there's a passion that you follow that you finish that sentence with. Place that layer of clothing on. And then without thinking about memories, pile on a bunch of clothes for our memories, our experiences, until you have gloves and mittens and scarves and jackets and every layer of clothing you could possibly imagine. And then we're going to imagine that this little miniature version is going to walk down our spine as if our spine were a spiral staircase. And at the base of our spine is this beautiful, warm, dark cave. And we're drawn to this cave. And as we walk deeper and deeper down our spine, we have a sense of drifting and being further away from outside influences, from the outside layer of the physical body, from the room that we're in, from the thinking mind, slowly walking further and further away from the distractions towards this warm cave at the base of our spine. And as we get closer to this cave, we notice a warm campfire in the middle. And around the campfire, perhaps there are comforting items like cushions and pillows and things that we find comfortable. We're going to curl up by the campfire in all of our layers. Start to think about the fire. Fire is transformative. It takes things and turns them into something else. It takes wood, it turns it into fire, and then smoke, and then ash. Transformation. Start to imagine you can feel the heat of this transformative fire. And then begin to notice the too much warmth of all of your layers of clothing. And then stand up next to your fire and peel off one layer, connecting to what it is. Your layer of type of personality, your layer of job, your layer of family, position, connecting to that layer and throwing it into the fire, not because you wish to discard it forever or be free of it, but because you're taking a break from it and you're putting it in the fire. And watch that layer of clothing burn and turn to ash. And then one by one, slowly peel off all these heavy layers of clothing. Connecting to a layer, a label, a something that you label yourself as. Peeling it off, taking a break, putting it in the fire. And each time you peel off a layer, see if you can begin to complete the sentence, I am, without an ending, making it a complete sentence. And if you still have the need to complete that sentence with I am something, I am daughter, I am mother, I am father, just gently imagine peeling off that layer and placing it in the fire and see if you can get to this internal vibration of what is beneath all of the layers. Perhaps you begin to get to the point where you can even peel off the physical layer and see yourself as more of an energetic glow. The I am. Little part of ourself, our innermost self, that is below all of the layers, all of the labels, all of the judgments, all of the experiences, our spark of life. Maybe you can begin to see this inner spark of you, this glowing part of you, starting to vibrate and be fresh and shiny and beautiful. And taking a seat next to the comforting fire and feeling a sense of warmth and calm, compassion and acceptance right here next to this warm fire. As you lay next to the fire, enjoying the sense of warmth and comfort that comes from this fire, You notice the thoughts and the cognitive mind pulling you away. Imagine you could give the thought itself a visualization and gently toss it to the flames. Return to seeing yourself as that glowing being, enjoying the comfort of a warm campfire. Paint in the details of this warm, comforting fire, and the concept of your innermost self being at comfort and ease and resting in this calming place. And gently see this part of yourself beginning to get ready to leave this space and walk its way up the spine. And just before it leaves, it sees its layers of that we place in our life. Only this time, the layers are lighter. Clothing is softer and lighter and easier to carry. Perhaps seeing yourself getting dressed and preparing. And then gently walk your little self back towards the center of the brain. Imagine this little version of yourself taking a seat in the center of the brain and looking back at the back of the eyelids as if they were a movie screen for the thoughts. Notice what is present. Now gently take a journey of rapid visualization, practicing seeing an image, observing it without label or judgment, and then allowing it to pass. So we'll begin with a leaf blowing in the wind, a snowstorm, far distant planet, a tiny ant, bees busy in a hive, a phoenix rising from the flames, purple elephant, wild horses, birds migrating, sand falling through your fingers, child crying, standing on top of a tall mountain, sacred temple, sitting in meditation. See yourself sitting in meditation. Observe yourself sitting in meditation. And then before we coming back from this deep state of rest, repeat your sentence, your intention, your truth vow from the start of practice, as if planting a seed in fertile soil, knowing it will take root and grow. Say it as if your whole soul is listening, your whole body. And then without letting the cognitive mind take too much thought, allow the body to take this moment to reach and stretch and lengthen in whichever way the body feels is right. Take this time for your body to creak and move and be in its own intuition. And then slowly make your way over to a fetal position and whatever side is calling to you. Curl up in a little ball and start to become aware of sensation in the physical body. Coming out of the practice as slowly as we went in, begin to notice perhaps the temperature of the room. Notice sounds. Maybe peek, open the eyes, just a little slit, start to bring in a little light. And wrapped in this comforting position, think about anything in the body, not the cognitive head, in the body, ready to be released, ready to be let go of. Just try not to give an explanation, a memory, a thought. Just imagine anything you're carrying, weight of what you're carrying, softening and being lighter. Letting what you're ready to let go of land on the mat. slowly make your way up to a seated position. And complete your practice with your hands at prayer at heart space and thinking about this position, thinking about what it means, how it feels. Think about the touch of your fingertips. Think about the fact that you're bringing left and right sides to meet in front of your heart. And then connect to the concept of accepting yourself as whole and complete, precisely as you are. We go through the world thinking perhaps that we are broken. And we have this way of severing ourselves and deciding one side is good and one side is bad, and one thing is good and one side is bad. But all of it is a part of ourself, our memories, our thoughts, our experiences. We are all part of a whole system. Acknowledge your whole system. Acknowledge the inner wisdom within. And thank you so much for joining us. So, as with these practices, gently remind you that sometimes some of these practices can stir up emotions or things that might need to be processed. If you do feel an overwhelming emotion, an overwhelming thought pattern, take some time to ground down, take a seat, or maybe walk in nature, maybe grab something to hold that feels grounding. And just take the time to try and sit with the feeling and let it pass rather than explain it away with the head. Trying to practice that practice of not grasping the thought or grasping the feeling and trying to hold on to it and figure it out and understand it, but just trying to let it flow and pass. And there are comforting positions you can get into: child's pose, crocodile pose. You can you go out in nature, look at something beautiful in nature. Anything that helps you feel grounded if it gets overwhelming. Thank you.